Hey there, friends. Kind of maddening videos that I've been putting out the last couple days, and I apologize for the negativity of them, but nevertheless, it's my attempt to deliver the truth and what's really happening as best I can. And of course, it's kind of hard to dispute in many cases, the video. The video that I have today is equally maddening. However, nobody died yet, or that we know of, as a result of this person that you're going to see here, who is a former agent of the FBI and currently works for the CIA in contracts, according to this video. I'm going to play the video all the way through, and then we're going to talk about it.
Gavin O'Blennis is a contracting officer at the CIA. O'Blennis worked for the FBI in 2021 and 2022 in the San Diego office, moved on to Homeland Security where he conducted asylum interviews at the southern border, and now works for the CIA managing multi-million-dollar contracts across government agencies and private sector vendors.
I work for, how do I put this without, I'm not supposed to tell people kind of job. If I say intelligence, what do you think?
CIA?
Yep.
Oh, you work for the CIA?
I do.
That's incredible.
I'm a contracting officer.
That's amazing.
So I deal a lot with like different agencies. We're contracting with like Director of National Intelligence to do stuff. We do Navy, Army, any of them really. I just FBI. I used to work for the FBI, so
Really?
they threw the FBI at me. They're like, here, you used to work there. Oh, I'm permanent. So yeah.
Good. Well, why do they call it contracting?
Because I do the contracting for them. I do all the legal contracts. I fly out to vendors and evaluate them. I love the agency.
Good for you.
I like the Bureau too. The Bureau was a lot of fun. I got to do a lot of cool stuff with the Bureau. I was the guy in the back of the truck in the van.
O'Blennis spoke to an Undercover Sound Investigations reporter about his work experience involving near entrapment and his employer's involvement with political commentator Alex Jones's legal battles.
As long as the Bureau is able to progress far enough to be able to put pro-lifers in jail whenever they want.
Yeah.
You think that's on the agenda?
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
How?
You set them up. You create the situation to where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. And once they act on that impulse, then we call that entrapment. It's a fine line.
Does the Bureau practice entrapment a lot?
We get really close.
Not officially.
No. We get as close as we can. We get as close as we can to it without doing it.
So they can entrap some of these pro-lifers into doing things that they don't...
Depending, yeah. We call it a nudge.
A nudge.
A nudge. Sometimes you just gotta give them a quick little, just to see what happens, right?
And how does that happen?
You put a post out there, or you have someone fake profile, say something that triggers, that we know is going to trigger them, right? Like, we already know your history. If we're to that point, we already know everything about it. So we're like, oh, this will piss them off.
Oh.
Sometimes you light the fuse and just wait for it to follow, right?
Like a rally. Like a... Oh. So when a rally happens, that's sometimes the Bureau behind it?
Yeah, sometimes. Nothing like putting out a fake social media thing to like really get people mad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's fake news. Sometimes it's it's not fake. It's embellished a little bit.
Who would be like a big influencer that you're after? You're like a... I don't know, like I don't even know these names. Like a Fox News person or like a Tucker Carlson or like...
Oh, I'm sure he's on the radar, right? You always want the biggest and loudest. Like that, what was his name? The one that said the Sandy Hook didn't happen.
Alex Jones.
Yeah, so we were after him.
You are?
Hardcore.
Are you still after him?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's broke. He got found guilty and had to pay like $100 million.
So why were you after him?
We're not anymore.
Just to get the money from him?
Yeah.
Was that court case used? Was that a CIA
Sure
thing?
was.
That was the agency thing?
Well, actually it was a defamation case. So it's a civil, not government. But we were looking at all of his followers, commenting, following, like, who's that going to lead us to, right? So even though it's technically not our, well, not the agency definitely, but the Bureau, for instance, yeah, that's not our purview. It's a civil matter. But since they got all this access to his stuff and it's there, what can we go find?
And did you find anything?
I can't tell you
Oh,
we did. But, so, you know, it's just kind of like, realize the opportunity that you have.
So with Alex Jones, you were watching him long before anything ended up happening.
Probably. It wasn't my office, but I mean, we would have been well aware of what he was doing.
And the goal with him was what? Just to bankrupt him?
Pretty much. And we let the families do it.
And what?
We let the families do it.
Were they encouraged to do that by the Bureau? Like nudged?
We don't encourage people,
But like,
we just say there's no federal statute being broken, but you do have the option for a civil case, and it's a pretty good case.
nice.
In our opinion.
So, that makes so much sense. I have a cousin who's a lawyer. So that's a lot of these cases. They're kind of encouraged by the FBI.
Yeah, like there's nothing federal law we can do, but civilly, we can go at him that way and chop his legs off.
And they did. Yeah. So the FBI was happy.
We didn't care. We were like, oh.
Basically, the citizens did your job.
Yeah.
Wow. So you can encourage a civil lawsuit.
Not encourage. Educate.
What can you do with people like Alex Jones now? Because he's still out there.
Yeah.
He's still chirping.
He can chirp.
Are you still watching him?
Yeah.
Why?
We did what we wanted.
Which was what?
Took his money away. We shut him up for a while. You're never going to shut him up permanently.
Well, unless you put him in prison.
But again, he didn't do anything to go to prison. Being ignorant is not a crime, though it should.
It is. I mean, what you could bring a nudge.
He didn't incite a riot like Cheeto. He didn't encourage people to go shoot people. He didn't do anything.
Additionally, O'Bleness states that he knows and works with FBI agents who were undercover in the January 6th Capitol riot, estimating about 20 field agents were there undercover. While O'Bleness notes that they were not involved in violence, this appears to be the first admission of undercover FBI agents in attendance.
I thought you said that there were FBI agents in the crowd at J6.
There always are when there's a big protest in D.C. Just in case it gets out of hand like that. But there wasn't enough to turn that tide. I mean, I'm talking they maybe have 20. You needed 1,000 to get rid of that crowd.
So they had like, that was just 20?
Yeah, just to go through and observe, see what they can hear, that kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. They needed 1,000 at least.
Well, see, that's also Capitol Police jurisdiction. They're in charge.
So the FBI,
why they didn't have more on hand, I don't know.
The Bureau didn't really want people knowing that they were in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be overstepping their bounds.
A little bit.
Do people know that?
Why?
Did people know that the Bureau was in the crowd?
Nope, and probably never will.
You know agents that were there?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. They work for the agency now.
That's only slightly upsetting, right? To us taxpayers, right? I mean, we don't live off the government. So we're footing that payroll to this clown, right? First question I have, and this is indicative of the last couple of videos that we've seen. If you notice, a lot of these undercover guys, which by the way, this company is Sound Investigations, who did this video, like the James O'Keefe guy. Again, Sound Investigations. Good work on their part. But have you noticed how when these guys go undercover and they want to talk to some of these guys, it's always this like fake dating of a gay guy? I mean, is every special agent and every agent embedded in the backside in DC, are they all gay? I mean, because it's like if you want to get inside information from somebody embedded in the backside of DC, all you got to do is pretend to be a gay guy looking for a date. I guess you go on the gay Tinder if maybe they use Tinder, the gay guys do. I guess that's all you got to do is swipe left or right or up or down. I don't know they're probably swiping up and down many times, but it looks like it's pretty easy for them to pull off. You just put yourself out there and they're going to come, right? Bad choice of words, probably. This phrase that old Gavin here spit out, you can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do. Set them up, act on their impulses. Well, clearly, Gavin is acting on his impulses right here as he gets catfished, or whatever kind of fish you want to call this. But makes me wonder, hearkening back to my video yesterday of the guy in Little Rock, the director of Little Rock Airport, who the ATF agents went to, put tape over his Ring doorbell camera, stormed his house, and shot him in the head. I wonder if that was their attempt at setting him up and making him act on his impulses. In other words, he's sitting here, this guy Gavin, describing a situation where they know these guys, his own words, and they get to know them more. They understand what their proclivities are. They understand what their impulses are. And they push them right to the edge, knowing or at least expecting that they're going to act in that next step. And they get them just close enough to where they make them say or do something, so then they pounce, right? Then they find that thing that they did wrong. I find that a little bit ironic based on the video that I did yesterday, because if they knew this guy had firearms in his house, they purposely tried to sneak up on the guy. He was clearly not expecting anyone. They put tape over the camera so that he wouldn't know that they were law enforcement, which means your first thought would be somebody breaking into your house, right? Any normal person would assume that when somebody kicks your door in, that's a criminal. That's not law enforcement. So it's like they made him, according to Gavin here, act on his impulses. Clearly, that's what they would have needed to put him in jail, or in this case, in a body bag. A lot of stuff going on in this video. I just think this is a great look inside what the FBI does. We knew the CIA did it, but the FBI is so compromised right now from top to bottom. And I hate to use the word bottom because we're talking about this guy in this type of situation. That word could be used in a couple different ways. But you know, you've got Christopher Wray down to old Gavin here. And these guys are all corrupt. These guys are truly not looking out for the American people. If the FBI and the CIA were meant to protect and look out for the American people, where is it in this video? Everything this guy said was something negative about an American, actually a citizen in America. Nothing he mentioned was about thwarting crimes or fighting off criminals. It was nothing to do with actual law enforcement. It was about setting people up, getting them in trouble, and tricking them into doing things that would make them get in trouble so that the FBI or the CIA would have a reason to act on the next step. Again, I have to go back to, there was nothing that he said in his braggadocious manner that was like, look at all the people we're saving and this is how we're doing it, right? Nothing like that. This guy, I believe, is a reflection of what we can come to see and expect in these three-letter agencies out there, especially under the current administration. And as you can see, this guy, and of course, most of his homies, I guess, in the organizations, are all pro-Biden and anti-Trump. I mean, this guy's talking about, what do you call him, Cheeto? Called Trump Cheeto? Clearly, this guy will do and probably has done everything he can against anybody like us who's conservative, or any efforts to either get Trump elected or at least be fair towards Trump. So clearly we know that taxpayer money for guys like this will be being used against Trump and against conservatives in the upcoming election. This is the kind of stuff that scares me. This is the kind of stuff that we don't get to see, but we know it's going on.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
He's over!